Hello friends, today's our topic for discussion is WWW, known as World Wide Web. Now how this works? It works basically on the client server model, where the client and server operates on machines which are able to communicate through a network. The server waits for the request from the client, and when the server receives a request from client, then it performs variety of tasks, such as it performs the requested work, or it looks up the requested data, and also it sends a response to the client. Now the servers can be of several types, like file servers, web servers, name servers, etc. And the clients can also be of various types, such as browsers, email clients, and many more. Now we'll see the URL format which is used throughout the world. The first part is a scheme, followed by colon, then forward slash, server or the domain name, followed by the path name. The scheme is basically which protocol to use. The majorly used protocol in this is the HTTP, or the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is widely used throughout the world. Other formats or protocols of this scheme are file, which tells the client documents is in a local machine. Next type is of FTP, which stands for File Transfer Protocol. Next we will see the server domain name, which identifies the server system. For example, this particular domain from UK. Next is the path name, which tells the server where to find the file. For example, this file, this web URL is written as an example. Web browsers and servers. A web browser, it is basically a program that retrieves files from the World Wide Web and renders text, images or sounds encoded in the files. The examples of web browsers are Internet Explorer IP, Netscape Navigator, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, and many more. Now, web server. It is also an application which waits for the client requests and fetches requested documents from the disk and transmits them to the client. Some examples of web servers are Apache web servers. Now what happens when you click on a hyperlink? It determines the URL and extracted domain name, and it uses the name server to get the IP address, or DNS, domain name server. It makes a TCP connect to port 80 and sends a request for a web page once the server has accepted the connection. The server sends the file and then releases the TCP connection, and the client displays the requested document. Other possibilities. The steps in the previous slides were for displaying a static web page from a remote machine. The other possibilities for these are when a page is reloaded from a local system, then there is no TCP connections and the URL begins with the file colon followed by forward slash and the other part. Then also the page is dynamically generated by a client-side script. In this, there is no TCP connection. The other possibility is the page is dynamically generated by a server-side script, or the server may carry out other functions such as secure server, which checks the user's identity if they are authorized to access a particular resource or not. Next is the stateless connection. So both client and server release the TCP connection after a page has been transferred. The HTTP 1.0 is stateless, that is, the connections are not persistent in this, and also there is no indication to the server whether new transactions involve the same client or not, while the HTTP 1.1 is a persistent one. It by keeping the track of the client IP addresses. However, there is no way of identifying repeated visits to the site by the same user. Furthermore, ISPs reallocate IP addresses to dial-up customers as new user dial-in. Now, cookies. These are the requests to the browser to store a small data file which is known as cookie on the user's hard disk. These serve to identify the users only. For instance, it could contain a key into a database on the server machine. The most browsers nowadays allow you to decide whether or not you want cookies on your machine. Now some HTTP basics. Protocol for client-server communication. It is the heart of the web and very simple request-response protocol. The client sends request message and the server replies with the response message. This HTTP is a stateless protocol and it relies on the URL naming mechanism. There are basically three versions which have been used for the HTTP. First is the 09 or 1.0, which was very close to the Berners-Lee's original. The RFC 1945, which has been now expired. Next version was 1.1, which was developed to enhance the performance, caching, compressions, etc. Its RFC is 2068. Next version is the 1.0, which dominates today, but 1.1 is catching up. Now HTTP request messages. What are the request messages in an HTTP protocol? First is the GET, which is used to retrieve document specified by the URL. Next is put or PUT, which stores the specified document under given URL. Next is the head, which retrieves information about the documents specified by the URL. Next is the options, which retrieves information about the available options. Next is the post, which gives information or annotations to the server. Next is the delete, which removes document specified by the URL. Next is trace, which loopbacks the request message. Next one is the connect, which is for use by the caches. Now HTTP request format. First is the request line, where request URL HTTP version is used. Next is the headers, 0 or more it can be, then body. First type of HTTP message are requests. The client browsers construct and send message. A typical HTTP request can be shown by get HTTP www.cs.wisc.edu /index.html, which is using the HTTP 1.0. Now HTTP response format, which consists the status line, that is the HTTP version, response code and the response phrase. Also the headers, then the body part. The second type of HTTP message is the response type, which consists of the web servers to construct and send response messages. A typical HTTP response is denoted as HTTP/1.0301 move permanently. Location is shown by http://www.wisc.edu/cs/index.html. Now the HTTP 1.0 network interaction. In this, the clients make requests to the port 80 on the servers, which uses the DNS to resolve server name. The clients then make separate TCP connection for each of the URL, and some browsers open multiple TCP connections. For example, Netscape by default uses 4 multiple TCP connections. Then the server returns HTML page in which many types of servers with a variety of implementations are used. The Apache is the most widely used application server which is freely available in source form. Also, the client parses page which requests to embedded objects. HTTP 1.1 performance enhancements. The 1.0 version is a stop and wait protocol in which separate TCP connection was required for each file. Now the connection requires setup and tear down which is incurred for each file. Also, the inefficient use of packets was there, and also in this the server must maintain many connections in time wait. The Mogul and Padmanabhan studied these issues in 95, which resulted in the HTTP 1.1 specification, which was focused on performance enhancements such as persistent connections, pipelining, enhanced caching options, support for compression, etc. Persistent connections and pipelining. Persistent connections are those which use the same TCP connections for the transfer of multiple files. Also, these connections reduces the packet traffic significantly and may or may not increase the performance from client perspective, such as the load on the server increases. Next is pipelining, in which they pack as much data into a packet as is possible. It requires length fields within the header which may or may not reduce packet traffic or increase the performance. Thank you all of you.